Welcome back everyone, it's your boy Cool Kid Croc and we're here today for Kenshi Let's Struggle.
You can call it Raven, whatever Mo, all these hoes racing on 2 grand. Put the naughty in sedan, I go faster than you can. Put the naughty in sedan, I go faster than you can. Loop.
Now today in this episode, Harold has quite the announcement to say to the group as he heads towards all of them. He's taken everyone off of their jobs for the time being, so he's going to remove his helmet as this is an important message to get across to the people of the Haryoung Empire. So Harold greets his people and lets them know of the current situation with the United Cities, as in the last episode they got into quite a big conflict. B02 chips in on the fact that they had almost all lost their lives, but seeing as they were strong enough, they were able to get away with one of the United Cities' top representatives. For the Haryoung Empire, this meant, of course, that they had now a great enemy, the United Cities. Not one to really just fuck around with. They're quite big, and they have lots of... Oh, for fuck's sakes, who left the gate open? Return to the business at hand. The United Cities are now at war with the Haryoung Empire. This means we're gonna have to change up the way we've been doing things. We're gonna try and expand more and get more recruits, as the Haryoung Empire is currently way too underpowered to take on such a force. We already have quite a few strong units, but once we get about 10 to 20 more, being able to defend ourselves from the cities and possibly raid them is a possibility. For fuck's sakes. Did somebody close the fucking gate, man? Jesus Christ, this place is utter hell sometimes. So back to business. We will definitely need to form a great army in order to take out these cities. For sure it'll be no time until the United States starts to send raids of their own towards us. And once we have the manpower to, we'll be able to take over the United Cities, and all of their towns can belong to us. Everybody basically agrees with this motion and gets back to work. Now with a new mindset though on the exploration and trying to expand and such. Harold has lots to get to if he's going to be making good progress within the next few weeks. Firstly, Harold wanted to take out the triage group, as they had moved back into the Dust King Tower, motherfuckers. And we can't just have them raiding us again all the time, so taking out them is definitely something to get to. Meanwhile, we're doing pretty good with producing cactus rum, as well as the hash production is going really well. So we're making quite a bit of cats per day. Now the group would run into a few different bandit groups on the way there, but most of the border zone bandits are too weak to take on even just one of the people in the Herald's platoon. At this point, we're mostly over-leveled compared to the majority of the different factions here. Now, once getting near the border zone, there was a hill we just couldn't fucking pass. I sat there for like 2 minutes and then figured out how to walk around it. And that was quite frustrating. It's a good thing I edit these. Once getting to the Dust King Tower, there's a few Black Ninja Gennings that ambushed the platoon, but they were no match for us, of course, and we've already taken out majority of them. Now, though, heading into the fort, it was all wiped out already. I'm not sure if this is because we already recruited the triage first guy, or because somebody else wiped them out as we were getting close. But either way, the entire tower was just filled with corpses. There wasn't anything really to loot here either, and I couldn't really find any like head person here, so I decided to just clear out a few camps that were nearby in the area, as a few of them had started to spawn up slave camps and bow dog camps and such. Now I headed over to the Adventurers Guild town that's near the hub, and going into the bar, I decided to look around and talk to some of the people in there. And when heading upstairs, I found a pretty unique recruit. This man named Killog, who actually seemed to be of a completely different race that we had not seen before. When talking to Killog, he basically tells us that he wants to join up. Either way though, his story is that basically his master of his race led him here, and now his master's gone, so he's looking for a new cause. So he'll make a great addition to our team. Killbod, the super mutant, now joins the squad. In total, he's pretty strong. He's got lots of good stats in like heavy weapons and strength. I also talked to the adventurer headhunter. That way we can grab some more recruits. I want to get some more humans, that way we can have people making clothes and more weapons soon, as we need to build that up for the Empire. Next though, the platoon went back to the good old hub. Yeah, nostalgia waves. I decided to go here because I wanted to get a few more recruits. So after looking around, there were a few people that were pretty cheap. For 3k, I recruited a few different Scorchlanders. The first one I named a Tracy after a viewer of a series. And then after that, I picked up a Shek recruit as well. This one I named Endo SSAD, or I'm just going to call him Endo so I don't fucking butcher it. And then after that, I went over to the other bar to see if there's any other recruits I could grab. The last Scorchlander I named U-Master after a long-time subscriber. And outside there is a hiver, and I want more hivers in the Haryoung Empire, so I recruited him and renamed him to Timmy. And with that, we had gained 4 different recruits just from the hub alone, and then 1 with Killbot, so we had quite the group to go back home with. Now the gate here, sort of like sunk or melted from one of the mods, looks pretty fucking bad. But back at the base, over near the torture tower, I decided to put in 3 metal cages. That way we can put all of our prisoners and people that we want to convert and sort of defect over to the Haryoung Empire. We can put them in here now, and we'll have a lot more room to do so. So the next day, the group was able to make it back to Fort Harold. So I immediately had the 5 new recruits that we got go into the training building. Now, Killbot already has a high strength, so he's doing dexterity. Meanwhile, the other people are going to be training up their strength up to 30 or 40. After that, I decided to upgrade the iron refinery up to level 3. There's lots of things that still need to be upgraded here and there around the base, seeing as we've made lots of progress in the tech tree since we first set up Fort Harold. I then went over into the corner house where we have a few weapons and stuff stored and put down some general storage chests, because Snub's basically full of different stuff that we have from the numerous raids we've been going on with him. So I finally got to put all of his inventory into there, basically just one chest, filled it right up. And with that, we'll be good to go back out exploring or doing supply runs and stuff like that. Now, we had a shit ton of cactus rum, so I figured I wanted to do a supply run and check out one of the neighboring cities that had just popped up. This one is Tempest. This is from the Lost of Ashlands mod. So I sent the group over there. I forgot I had this one enabled, and I know I didn't do an import, so not everything's correct with this mod, but I think I'm going to leave it on because the places that it adds are pretty cool. As the group heads over, Tempest is made out of sort of like a ship or some platforms and stuff. It's a really cool design. So heading up on the hill, there's a platform where you can go into and enter, and as you can see, there's one building in the middle with different buildings on the corners, as well as a platform right below the top one. This whole design is really cool, and it's all like laid out with a bridge. Your best bet though is going to be to right click on a character and follow them. Don't move around the camera too much or else you go everywhere. The first building though, the Wuxan Cell Swords, their faction HQ, I decided to check out. And they seemed kind of like a tech hunter group or something. There isn't anyone in this building at least that I could really talk to, and seeing as there's so many of them, and their stats are all pretty alright, I'm not really going to, try and raid them for no reason. Moving on though, there's a few different shops. The first shop that I went into sold different types of armor, so I sold basically cactus rum, getting this entire town just wasted. After that, I moved on to the next building, which is owned by the Red Sunset faction. It seems they're basically the same jazz as the last one or whatever, but they look a little bit different. They're red instead of blue, of course, as well as them being in a different building, which makes sense. So it's pretty cool. There's 2 different factions here, and I find out soon exactly how to communicate with them. See, once going into the bar, I went in and then made sure to sell as much of the cactus rum that I could to get rid of. We crossed 400k in cats, which is pretty nice. And then I found each representative from the factions. You can ask them to be bodyguards or defend your outpost, stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. But then heading on to the floor under the first one, I found a crossbow shop to sell more of the cactus rum that I had to. And I almost got rid of it at this point. It was in the next shop that I finally did, and they didn't have any like real limbs that I wanted. So with that, we had made quite a bit of decent money, and I wanted to go exploring, so I sent the group to the outskirts of a wasteland. We also had the recruit delivery arrived just on time as that was going on, so that was pretty good. I sent Royito out to go talk to the new recruits, and I named the first Scorchlander after Benjamin Maxham. And then I don't know, I must have smoked too many bongs because I named this guy Timmy, I guess after Timmy again. So we now got 2 Timmys. I mean, at least you got 2 characters, man. You got double chances to survive the Let's Struggle. That's pretty good. Either way though, I moved the 2 new recruits over to the training group and sent them into the building to get their stats up. Meanwhile, Harold's platoon had finally arrived at the outskirts of the Deadlands, and I wanted to send them in to go into the ruins that was near the middle of it. Now normally humans would be burning, but because of the armor we have, we're pretty good in this weather. We don't really take damage, we regen right away. But right after is when I saw something lurking in the background. It was, of course, a Leviathan again, but this time a different one, a Mech Leviathan. This is from a certain mod that adds different types of Leviathans into the world, and this thing is huge. It has thousands of HP and stats, thousands more than the normal one. and is a true step up from the Leviathan. Of course, we're not fighting this fucking thing yet, and not without Implore, Jesus Christ. And we just have to head on the path, as we gotta dodge lightning bolts and other worries, you know, it's not a safe adventure here exactly. But we're able to make it by all the fucking terrifying monsters and get near the ruins, to which we discovered Black Desert City and were almost struck by lightning. But it was no worries, so first we had to check out the ruins. And when looking into it, we could see that there's a lot of different skeletons there, a lot of broken units, and definitely hostile forces that would defend this ruin, so we had no choice other than to go into battle with them, as we definitely needed whatever research we could get from this place. The first one was the strongest one, and he went down without really landing a single hit, and the rest of them all swarmed in at the same time. Either way though, they were really no match for Harold and his group. Even her weird ass donut swords, fucking deadly ass weapon, you know, they still stood no match to Harold and the skeletons. Snub would walk up the stairs and slap the skeletons in the face. Meanwhile, I wanted to get a few of the skeletons picked up and repaired though. We needed more recruits back at the base, and they all had some pretty decent stats, so Harold picked up one, Erocative picked up one, and then I got Arpo to pick up one. Afterwards, making sure they're all repaired as well. Unfortunately, the only cool thing that we found was this really sick looking mat. Everything else in here was basically garbage. The only chest I really could find that had anything was a bunch of skeleton repair kits. We already got like a fucking pile of these back at the base, so that ruins was honestly quite a bust. There's only a few ancient science books, nothing too much that was important. The only thing was the mask. The mask looks pretty nice on Harold. It's like some sort of like astronaut mask or some shit. Looks very futuristic and discreet. You can't see whose face is in it, so Harold will be using this for now on. The group made it into Black Desert City though, and upon arriving, it's mostly a skeleton based town. Like most of the residents are just skeletons. Talking to the first shopkeeper that owns the robotics limb store, he's pretty shocked to see that a human actually made it into Black Desert City. But he told us he's one of the best craftsmen in the world, and that he probably is, because he had a bunch of masterwork and specialist grade limbs. I made sure to pick up a bunch of different legs as well as arms. I probably dropped like 200k here alone, but it'll all be worth it in the long run, as these are all very useful and great limbs to have. We might be hurting in money a little bit more, but that's alright. The next spot we wanted to go to was the bar. The bar because there might be some people to recruit here, and upon going in we can see a very distinguishable person in the background. But the first person I talked to was Sad Neo. He's a robot that really just is pretty sad. He basically just hates his fucking life. He's pretty relatable, you know, and he just keeps his name Sad Neo, so we recruited him. And then after I found Darth Vader, and for 100k caps we could recruit him. Now I'm not going, no, of course I'm going to fucking recruit Darth Vader. It's Jesus Christ, it's a Let's Struggle, I can do whatever I want. He's not too OP either. His armor is pretty nice, you know, but it's not super fucking OP. Neither are his stats really, you know, all 50s, and seeing as Harold currently has stats that are higher than him, it's not, you know, too out of our league to have this recruit. We did pay 100k for him, but that's mostly for the cosmetic. After that, I went and grabbed this other robot that looked pretty cool, you know, I liked his head shape. But I went ahead and renamed him to Sador after a viewer of the series. And with that, I sent the platoon out of the Black Desert City to go back towards the base. We're now leaving with another 3 recruits to bring back home, which is pretty good, as well as the other 3 that we had kidnapped from the ruins. We were looking pretty nice at all. There was one more ruins on the way, but it was one of these shitty ass ruins, you know. I'm sure I can go without the fucking building material and iron plate and bullshit, so I skipped that one and headed home. That way we can make it back just before nightfall. But first thing was I had everybody put the people that we had kidnapped into the cages, and they all need rebooting. We apparently need an AI core, and I looked at our inventory, you know, our storage, see what we have, and we have just about every core except for AI, which is kind of bullshit, but I guess that just means we'll have to do some more exploration runs and look into how to find an AI core. Lord Inaba's also being very stubborn, so if he doesn't recruit before he starves, I'll just have to reinstall the other mod again. But something insane was Harold wanted to try to get his limbs removed. This was because of the new great limbs we have. He wants to be at the best of his abilities for whatever war is to come. So using the help of Arpo and Erocative, he made sure that they would be standing by to heal him as he was losing health in his head, stomach, and chest. But they would do this process basically just until both of his arms and his other leg that remains are basically negative 100 health. At that point, they just simply pop right off, and right away I get Erocative to go and get Harold off of a peeler machine because We don't want to leave him on there any longer. If he gets negative 100 in head or anything else, he'll for sure die. But they were able to patch up Harold and stop his bleeding, thankfully, and he was alright. And all that Harold had to do was get dressed again and get all of his stuff off the ground. Now I decided to go for 2 wheel legs for the extra speed, and then for the arms I decided to go with 1 steady arm as it adds a lot of dexterity, as well as a thieves arm as it will help him steal some shit as well with dexterity. And with that, Harold's looking a lot better. He now has more health in his legs and his arms, so in all, it was a pretty good upgrade. After getting him healed up, I just wanted to see how fast he really did go, and he goes probably, you know, a good 1/3 faster this time. He's really traveling at a great speed, about 50 kilometers per hour, so he can now just basically make fucking distance. If this really opens up the horizons of things we can do, as we can travel a lot farther now without it taking, you know, weeks on end to get there. So I decided to load up Harold with a bunch of the hash that we had, as we had almost 2 storage crates just about filled up. But I decided to head out with just about around 80 of it, and then went over to one of the United Cities. Now, even though we are an enemy of United Cities, I knew that Harold wouldn't even need to really sneak to get in. Just with his pure speed alone, he could rush through the gates before any of the guards noticed, and then go into the Thieves Guild building. Here, I talked to 2 different fences where I was able to sell all of the hash that I brought. It sells for nearly 1k, so I basically made nearly like 50k profit just from this one run. And it didn't take days on end either. He got there in about like 4 hours. On the way out though, it's a lot more stressful, as the United Cities guards are all ready to attack. They're trying to get him. Now I made Harold fight because, you know, he basically hunts these guys for sports at this time. Even though he gets a little bit damaged up, he can simply just fucking make a mad dash out of there, no problem, heal up, and then do whatever he wants. You know, he's not stopping for none of these bastards. He's just way too fast at this point, and he'll make it back to the base in another 3 to 4 hours, which is really good. Meanwhile, everybody that we had training now had a decent strength level and dexterity, which was pretty nice, so I'd probably be starting them on training against a real person soon. But with that, it brings us to the end of this episode of the Kenshi Let's Struggle. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below, and remember to subscribe to support the channel. As always though, thank you guys for watching the video and all the support you guys have been leaving, and have a good one. Peace.